Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Browne has defended his country's long-standing relationship with China, dismissing calls for Caribbean nations to rethink their diplomatic and economic ties with China. He was speaking during a ceremony celebrating the 76th anniversary of progress and friendship between China and Antigua and Barbuda.
There is not a sector that China has not had some presence in education. We got a grant for the Five Islands school that was repurposed and now houses the University of the West Indies Five Islands campus. We also got a grant for the Sir Viv Richards Stadium, which is one of the finest stadia within the Caribbean region. We have had concessional loans to develop our air and seaports. And if it wasn't for that type of funding, generous funding over 20 years at 2 to 3%, we would not have been successful in building out those two pieces of important infrastructure.
Browne praised China's contributions to infrastructure development across Antigua and Barbuda and its commitment to global issues that benefit humanity.
And today, Antigua and Barbuda is poised to become a transshipment port within the Caribbean region. In fact, I'm pretty sure that within the next 6 to 12 months that you will see a significant amount of developments taking place at the port as we seek to transition our port into a regional or at a minimum a sub-regional transshipment port. Again, we would not have been able to pursue that particular opportunity had it not been for the generous concessional loan from the People's Republic of China.
Responding to critics who argue that the Caribbean should reassess its alliances, Browne said there is, quote, nothing to rebalance, noting that both the United States and China serve the region in different ways. He emphasized that as sovereign states, Caribbean nations must be free to make their own foreign policy choices.
There are some who argue erroneously that countries in the Caribbean that support China, that they need to rebalance. But I ask, what is there to rebalance? We have already achieved the balance. So for example, the most important country to Antigua and Barbuda, and practically all countries within the Caribbean region, is the United States. And the reason for that is that the United States is the most significant source market for tourists. And it is also the single largest producer of goods, to include food, for Caribbean countries. So the United States is playing its role in our development, and we welcome that. And we don't expect China to tell us that we need to rebalance our relationship with the United States. And similarly, we don't expect the United States to dictate to us as a small sovereign country. And that is why I said earlier that we defend the principle of sovereignty. Notwithstanding how small we are, we should be able to make decisions, intelligent decisions in the national interest. When we allied recently with the United States to sell the Alfa Nero, we did so because we felt it was in the national interest so to do. China could not have come and tell us not to do it. And by the way, let me make the point here too. China has never ever interfered in the relations between Antigua and Barbuda and the United States because there's mutual respect between us. And despite the asymmetry in size, China has about 1.4 billion people, and we only have 100,000 people. They respect us. I've had the opportunity to travel to China, myself and my colleagues, and to sit around the table with President Xi and to speak about many issues, cooperation in the international forum, bilateral issues between Antigua, Barbuda, and the PRC. That is a level of respect that we have gotten from the PRC.